Hello again, Gooners! Yes, it's the man with the face made for radio. It is the Loose Cannon. I've been told to say my name, but I'm not going to do it. I think you can work it out for yourselves. You've only got to look at Google Plus. Google Minus might even be on that. If there was such a thing, I'm sure I'd be on it. Anyway, with no more further ado, I'm going to launch straight into it. And even, perhaps, I'm going to tell you what's coming up. Except I'm not even too sure myself. I'll tell you what I should do, though. You should have a menu, shouldn't you? It's a bit like going to a restaurant. You get a menu of all the things you want to try. Obviously, with a show like this, you don't get a chance to choose. I want a bit of good transfer news, because we don't have any of that. No, we only have miserable, deathly transfer news. Now, I don't like to bring up death, but that's what it feels like to me. Every time I hear about Fabregas, I'm not going to even start now, because I've got plenty of time to talk about that. First of all, I've got some news and views from the listeners. So the listeners and the viewers, because, well, I haven't been so visual as of late, although you might say, if you agree that this is a good idea, you might say that it's a really good idea that I'm actually using visuals of the players that we're going to be talking about, if I can find them, and I certainly can occasionally. Well, that might be a good thing, you might say. On the other hand, you might say, no, we'd rather see your ugly mug. Well, the point is, I don't want you to see my ugly mug today. I'm not in the mood. All right? So get off my case. Right. I'll tell you what I am in the mood to do, though, is talk about some of the points that you've brought up. And the first one, I'm sticking with initials here. The first one is from a certain person called LQ. LQ says that we need a powerhouse midfielder, a bit like Yaya Toure. LQ, I have to agree with you so far. Someone a bit like Patrick Vieira. It's getting better all the time, LQ. Keep talking. And he says he doesn't rate Khedira. Agree with that as well. And he also added that Uchida scored a goal the other day. I wasn't too sure about that. I believe you, LQ. He said Uchida scored a goal the other day. He doesn't really want him. He wants Serge Aurier all the same. Obviously, Serge Aurier is going to fit in a lot better, you would think, because he speaks French. And, well, I wouldn't say half the team speaks French now, but they're certainly used to listening to it. At least half the team. So, obviously, that, it's very difficult to disagree with you, having not seen Uchida as much as I probably should have. And if I have seen him, I haven't really noticed him. He's not a shining star for me, but I don't want to disregard him, because my feeling, obviously, about Japanese players is that they're pretty reliable, a bit like their cars, actually. They're pretty reliable, and they're certainly not going to go out getting wasted in the week, for instance. They will commit themselves to training. They'll never let you down. Although, obviously, a lot of people are disappointed with Ryo Miyaichi, but Miyaichi has been injury prone, and I said right from the very start, if a guy's as bow-legged as that, he's gonna get injuries. I don't mean to be harsh, but Robin van Persie used to get injuries a lot as well in his early days. But Rio may well come good eventually, but he needs a bit of time. His bones are going to have to be broken a few times and reset, and eventually we may well see the best of Rio, or some other club, I suspect, will see the best of Rio. But anyway, I won't go on about him, because it's one of those topics I could talk about forever. Instead of that, I'm going to talk about some of the other viewers / listeners, because it depends what version I'm going to put out. But for today, it's sort of more like listening, isn't it, with a few visuals. This was recommended. This should be my script in future, instead of saying "Hello, Gooners" or whatever I say, because I sometimes forget. Hello again. It's hello again. That's it. This script suggests this was written by HB, not to be confused with a pencil of the same name, or even a source of a similar name. No, it's a different HB. HB says, I should say, hello, it's your boy JB here. How's it hanging, fellas? Hope it's great. So, got a Brill video lined up, and a quick shout out before we start. It's out to my boy HB. And then he starts going on about his channel filled with vids. Well, I haven't seen it, so I can't really comment on that. But I'm sure it's good. Bit saucy if he's HP instead of HB, but he's HB. And then he said we've also got SH1, 1, and SH2, 2. They're sick something. I can't read that. even though it's an email, I'm struggling to read it because it's all gobbledygook. And it also says, but now get on to the football side of things. What do you think? He's asking me this, so I'm going to answer him in just a moment. What do you think of us signing Hulk for £26.5 million? Well, I've been researching this story, and there seems to be no evidence at all that it's in fact true. And you know what? I'm really pleased about that, because I wasn't really worried, because we've had the Beast, who was quite a large man for a football player. Bit on the large side, I would say, the Beast. Scored 4 goals at Liverpool. Little else. What else did he contribute to our season? Well, not a lot at all. You could put his contribution inside a postage stamp, although the Beast certainly wouldn't fit inside that kind of dimensions. He would need a lot bigger space, wouldn't he? Anyway, the Beast wasn't a huge hit, although we thought he would be. Obviously, the Hulk is a little on the huge side, but aside from that, I don't really think he's got a lot to offer us, to be honest. We'll see. I bet in the World Cup he scores about 8 goals or something. But you know, as far as bringing him into the Premier League's concerned, if he's carrying that much weight, you have to wonder how effective is he going to be in the Premier League. Anyway, the good news was Zenit St. Petersburg came out and said that it's complete nonsense. Zenit St. Petersburg has never received any bid from Arsenal for Hulk or any player. And obviously I was hoping that Andrei Arshavin might come back, but obviously I know full well that's never going to happen. And Andrei Arshavin, obviously his teammate, Hulk's teammate, I had a little word with him just before I went on air, and I said, Andrei, so what's the chances? What's the chances? And he went, ha ha. And I said, Andrei, come on, just be real with me. Just tell me, give me the lowdown. And he said, I want to tell you about Arsenal. And I said, okay, well, just give me the lowdown on that then, because I couldn't get anything about the Hulk. And he said, I told Wenger I want to play in Hull. Wenger think I say play in goal. We compromise, so play on wing. By wing, he mean playing. Ha ha, stupid joke. He drive me Heathrow. Anyway, if you could figure that out, well, good on you, because I mean, that's what happens when I script things. It really dies a death. But anyway, talking of death, that brings me on to the other transfer news, and isn't a lot of it, apart from disappointment. A lot of disappointment. The disappointing thing is Cesc Fabregas. Surely not. He cannot go to Chelsea. I'm not having it. I'm not having it at all. I'll tell you what, though, some people are having it, and those people are involved with the Bleacher Report. Now, the Bleacher Report I've got a lot of time for. Well, when I say I've got a lot of time for, I wouldn't want to quantify it in minutes, but I certainly do enjoy their website a great deal, I would say. Wouldn't you say so? Well, I don't expect you can answer that. But anyway, I was going through the comments about Cesc Fabregas possibly signing, and here I am scrolling while I'm talking, scrolling through all those stories that I picked up, and one of which was about Cesc Fabregas. I've got it in the newspaper. It's wound me up, and I've also got it on. I wanted to give you the Bleacher Report's take on it, because really they're probably closest to really putting together a really good argument why Arsene Wenger is right to ignore Cesc Fabregas. Now, I can't agree with that, obviously, because I think Cesc is the best number 10 out there, even though he doesn't wear number 10, he should do. But anyway, the Bleacher Report running the story that it's to quote the reporter, it's absolutely the right move by the Arsenal manager. And I couldn't disagree more. And obviously, I'm disappointed because we could have brought him back on the cheap. I know we've got a lot of players in that position, as this article reminds us. Mesut Ozil, am I saying it right? I hope so. Don't really care. Aaron Ramsey, I really struggle with that as well, but I think I've said that right. So we've got Ozil, we've got Ramsey. They're both kind of number 10s. I wouldn't disagree with that. Fabregas is better than both, in my opinion. As Rambo had an amazing season, and it would be a shame to, oust him. I'm not suggesting we oust him. If we had to oust anyone, again, it's not a player I'd want to oust, but Ozil, I'd consider getting rid of him to bring Cesc back, even though he's 2 years younger, which is obviously an advantage. But the thing is, he's on a 5-year deal. So from a financial perspective, I can actually see where Wenger is coming from. We've got the article says we've got, I think it's the article, no, somebody else actually, who's been quoted in this article, has said that we've got Santi Cazorla, we've got Jack Wilshere, we've got Alex Oxlade-Chamberlain, who can also play in the number 10 part when he's not crocked. Unfortunately, we'll come to that later. Thomas Rosicky, hello. I don't think he's an adequate number 10. How many of that list that I gave you is better than Cesc? I'll tell you how many. None. So if we bring Cesc back, which we won't, obviously, he is better than all of those players. I wouldn't say put together. He's not that good, but he's better than all of them. Ozil is probably the second best, but it hasn't proved it. At the moment, based on their last game, Aaron Ramsey's second best. Ozil probably third. I don't even know. Maybe Jack Wilshere's third, but Jack's quite versatile as well. So these players are quite versatile. Why does Wenger keep buying number 10s? Maybe he's decided to call it a day on number 10s. But I suspect it's something to do with all of the shenanigans that went on around Cesc's transfer away to Barcelona. I suspect it's something to do with that. I'm sorry I'm making funny noises. I've got terrible hay fever. Please forgive that. Anyway, the writer of this article is quite right to say that we really do need, the priorities are, we need a striker who can compete with Olivier Giroud, and we also need a right back to replace Bakary Sagna, and we also need a cover goalkeeper for Fabianski, who has now joined Swansea. Lucky devil, considering how poor he's been for us, generally speaking, apart from the odd game here and there. But we always forget these things. I see Senderos talking of poor. Senderos is on the move. Where's he gone? Aston Villa. 2 years. 2 years the contract. Well, good luck, Aston Villa. That's all I'm saying. Last team he joined went down. I will rest my case on that. But what else can I say about Cesc other than that if he ends up at Chelsea, even this article in the Bleacher Report agreed that if he does in fact end up at Chelsea, it will make one of our opponents, one of the other title challengers, if we are in fact title challengers, and at this stage I wouldn't say we are, but if we are title challengers, we're going to be up against the likes of Chelsea. We need to beat them for once in a while, once in a blue moon. As it's a blue moon, it's unlikely we will win, obviously, but if we don't strengthen our squad, the only things we're going to win are little tiddly cups. The FA Cup's not that tiddly. You need a bit of strength to pick that thing up. But, what could we win with this current team? I'll tell you what we could win. Charity Shield, Emirates Cup. Are we in it this year? If we're in it, we've got a good chance. Got a 1 in 4 chance of winning that. And maybe the FA Cup again, but I wouldn't bank on it. So unless we strengthen this squad, that's how serious it is. I mean, the Bleacher Report are quite right. We do need to bring in that many players. So obviously, you could say that bringing in Fabregas would be a waste of money. I would say, listen, why don't we get somebody that can wheel and deal in the transfer market? Arsene Wenger's good at bringing in players, keeping them a while, selling them later on down the line, getting good money for them. He's really good at that. I'm not going to knock him for that. But sometimes you need to get rid of a player that's a pup. In other words, if you buy a car that's not really performing, you're gonna offload it and try and get some of your money back. And we could have bought Cesc on a cut price deal. So why not do that? He would hit the ground running. I think there's as much chance that if Fabregas plays for Chelsea, we are going to regret it so much. And that, my friends, is why I'm a little bit miserable at the moment. I'm not that miserable, but I will be if he joins Chelsea. I'm telling you, I'm really upset about it. I'm upset about the Ox as well. The Ox getting injured. I've suddenly changed from transfer news to injury news, but there you go. I'm upset about that because the Ox, England need him, but we need him more. And if he's done serious damage to his knees, which I hope he hasn't, his knee ligaments, then obviously it could affect him at the start of the season. But in a way, it could be a blessing in disguise because obviously if he misses games for England, he may well start afresh in the new campaign, and we need him more than England. So in a sense, I'm not too worried about that. I'm far more worried about Cesc. He mustn't join Chelsea. I'm not having it. Not having it at all. Right, what else am I not having? I'm going to have to scroll through all my news stories to tell you, because at the moment, I'm just feeling that Liverpool are going to sign everyone, Chelsea are going to sign nearly everyone, and we're going to sign no one. And I'm not too sure about Man U, because they just don't seem to be in the news, do they, as much? But even there, Luke Shaw, I think they've been linked with Luke Shaw, so... Laurent Koscielny, for his sins, has urged us to buy players, I believe, unless I'm hallucinating. This is what I'm reading on Sky Sports. We'll need a goalkeeper, a right back, a midfielder, and a striker. Right, maybe he's got a job in the transfer department as well at the club. It's important to have a minimum of these 4 players so that we'll be better able to challenge over the course of a whole season. They didn't put words in his mouth at all, did they? Having a striker who scores more than 30 goals can help us win the Premier League. Well, that is certainly true. But what's the chances of us signing a goal scorer like that? I'm not unhappy with Giroud, not at all. And I think he will get in excess of 20. I think before the season started, I predicted 20. You can check the old videos, see if I'm lying. But I think I said he'd get 20 goals, and he got around about 20. So I called that one right, and I think he'll score more in this forthcoming season. I really do. But nonetheless, you've got to have someone pushing him. Nothing against Sonoga, I think is good. And, well, obviously he hasn't scored any goals just yet, which should lead me on to one of the players being linked. If only I could find who it is. And I'm scrolling down like crazy, trying to find who it is. Could it be? Yes, it may well be. Somebody from Italy by the name of Lorenzo Insigne, if I'm saying it correctly, which I hope I am. He's playing currently for Napoli, and it's been reported by the Metro, whom some people disregard for some unknown reason, not me, because I pick it up when I can, because it is free. £17 million is the price for the 23-year-old Italian who had a consistent season. I'm using their words, consistent. And he would certainly add strength to our attack. He played 46 times, according to WhoScored.com, which I haven't checked out yet, but I'll get round to it one of these days. And obviously we've got the old Koscielny quotation once more. But then, this is interesting, this did make me chuckle slightly. Deep down inside, I did have this little chuckle that Insigne is not the type of striker that Koscielny is hoping for. Oh, since when did Koscielny take over the management of the club? Well, the way it's looking, with these quotations appearing everywhere, perhaps he will be the successor to Arsene Wenger. Sorry, just a silly joke. Anyway, the Italian, Insigne, only hit the net on 6 occasions last season. This comes from WhoScored.com, so you better check your facts. Hopefully they're correct. He scored 6 goals. That's 6 more than Sonogo. So that's a plus, and that is why he may well be moving to us. Let's hope that isn't the reason why. But anyway, we'll watch this space with great interest, won't we? And who else is out there? Who else is really making us get excited? I can tell you who, if only I could pronounce his name. He is 17 years of age, and his name is Elias. That's his first name. His second name is far more challenging. His second name starts with chat, like a chat room. The next bit of his second name is zit, as in spot. The next bit is relatively easy to pronounce, but I made it sound difficult. Theo. And then the other bit is Doris. Oh, sorry. Doridis. So chat zith Theodoridis. Chat zit Theodoridis. That's the sort of name that rings a lot of bells. Well, it depends where you live, I suppose, but it may ring a few bells to some of you. And he's really, I don't even want to mention the name of the club he's been playing for. The club was called Mas Kalithiakos. And yes, I remember us having a Greek player. I can't think of his name now all of a sudden, but we had a Greek centre-back, Tavlarides, and I liked him. And guess what? Wenger offloaded him. I think Wenger was probably right, because I don't think he's gone on to big things, but he's not done badly in his career. Anyway, this guy was training part-time at our academy in Greece, and his huge talent became quite apparent. I wonder what happens. Like, one day you wake up and your huge talent is so apparent that somebody comes along and signs you. I mean, that's the way I would want to be signed if I was a teenager. Anyway, according to Onvolos, which sounds like a very interesting website or newspaper, he has now signed a 2-year contract with the club. He will begin playing for our youth team next season. So a huge signing there. 17 years of age, Elias Chatzithari. I forget about his name. But he's very good, and the picture proves it. The picture shows him with the ball at his feet and other players trailing in his wake. And to me, what more proof do you want? In other words, sorry, I'm getting aggressive here, but what more proof do you want? We've had the Hulk linked, we've had Cesc unlinked, and now we've got a player we can't pronounce who's definitely joining, and it doesn't get better than that, does it? So on that note, I'll leave you. Until next time, away!